Hello everybody, today we're going to go over how to create a simple plugin for Minecraft using Bukkit. Both Spigot and Bukkit use Bukkit plugins to extend your Minecraft server. Okay. If you don't know how to create a Minecraft server, that'll have to be a different lesson. That's not for today. Alright, so most of these videos use Eclipse. I am going to use IntelliJ's IDEA. I prefer it to Eclipse. So I've got create new project. I'm ready to start my project. I use 1.7. I know Minecraft is still on 1.6. I prefer 1.7. It's a little nicer. A lot of plugins use 1.7, so you really need to upgrade your Java if you're not running 1.7. So today I am going to work on a plugin to control the potions. We're going to call this potion control. Let's just put that right there. And you see that'll create this. Actually, I want to put this on my H drive. So I'm going to do that. Okay, and I'm going to hit next. So there's some other stuff. I don't need any of that. I'm just going to say finish. Okay, so now we have the IDE open. That's just the external library, so we don't need that. So we have a base project here. It's got a source and a project file. Now, in order to write a Bukkit plugin, we need the Bukkit jar. So you kind of need to go to dl.bukkit.org, downloads Bukkit, or you can just go here and click on Bukkit and get the jar. Now, if you see here, you'll look real closely. The recommended build is 1.6.4. I don't know about you, but I'm not using 1.6.4 anymore. They now have a beta build in 1.7.2, and they have a development build. I tend to use the development builds. They're usually pretty stable. Very rarely do I run into problems with them. I like to have the latest and greatest. It'll eventually become the beta build and so forth. Mostly the API doesn't change a lot, so it's not really that much of a problem. You gotta, Bukkit's the server. You gotta look more at Bukkit to decide which version to use. Look at the change notes and stuff like that. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna download the development build there. Okay, and I'm just gonna paste the jar for the moment right here. This is where the project folder is on my machine. And you see there's nothing in it right now, and we have no source. And there's the Bukkit jar. Okay, so now we have the Bukkit jar. Now we got to add it to here. We don't have any files yet, any classes, but we can still add the reference to the jar. So what you need to do is go to File and Project Structure. And here's your project name. Here's the project SDK. I usually change this to the language level to actually be 7. And now that'll close and reopen things sometimes. Okay, so then we want to go to libraries. So I need to add a library. We're not going to cover Maven today, but Maven is sometimes used by other people. Right here. So there it is, right there at the bottom. Okay, and add the Bukkit in, and there it is, and okay. And now it's added to my project. So now I can use all the functions and classes that are available in Bukkit in my project, and it'll know where to find them. Artifacts. We'll come back in here for artifacts. This is where you actually tell it how to make the jar, and we will need to do that. Right now we don't have one, so right now if we compile, it's going to make class files. It's not going to make your jar. So remember, that's also in project structure for later. We don't have anything to put in it right now. So here it goes. So I changed the language level, so it's going to want to reload my project. And there it goes. Okay, so now. So Java convention, first thing you do usually is create a package. Okay, all lowercase, it's the convention. Usually it's some sort of path like this. Obviously on minecast.com, me, and the name of my project. So there you go, there is my package. And okay, so now that we have our package, we'll create our first class. We're going to call that the name of the project, so it will be called Potion Control. Like that. And we need it to extend Java plugin. And you see, actually, it's helping me out because I've added Bukkit already to my libraries. When I get this far, it says, hey, there's one in org.bukkit, the plugin in Java. So, yep, that's the one I want. Great. And because I clicked on it like that, it added the import at the top for me. Okay. Now there's a couple of functions or methods that you have to add to make your plugin work. The first is onEnable and the second is onDisable. So we're going to start with that. So there's onEnable. And there's onDisable. Now, you usually want to log, and you can use getLogger. This is the simplest way to log. So, motion control enabled, and you'll just take it and add it down here and say disabled. So with that, if you compile your plugin and run it, you'll at least get log lines. You'll get two that your plugin's been enabled and your plugin's been disabled when it shuts down. However, right now your plugin would not load because you're missing something. What every plugin has to have is a plugin.yml file. So you need to add a plugin.yml file to your project. So it's just a text file. So you just say new file. This is instructions to Craft Bukkit on how to use your plugin. It needs a name section, which has to be the name of your plugin. So Potion Control is the name of mine. It has a version tag. There's a bunch of other tags, and I definitely recommend looking them up. I'm just going to add a couple right now. This is the main is very important. It is the path to your main class. So if this isn't correct, it won't be able to find it, and your plugin definitely will not work. And you can see it's the whole package plus the name of the main class. So there we go. An author tag. Who wrote it? That would be me. And a description for now of what it does. Okay. There are other tags. When we add commands to this plugin, which there will be, we will come back in here and add the commands so that Craft Bukkit knows that those commands exist. There are other ways to add commands that you do not have to add them in here, but proper procedure is to put them in here. And we just save it. And we go back up here. Okay, so now we're actually ready to compile this plugin and have it execute in a server. Compile this. So let's make the project for the first time. IntelliJ will tell you if you have errors as you're typing, but you know, in the end you got to compile it. So there we go, successful compilation. And we're ready to add artifact. This is where we're actually going to build our plugin for the first time, to actually put it in a jar. So go to the project structure, artifacts, jar, choose empty, and you'll get this unnamed artifact. So we're going to call it Potion Control. You can see it's putting it right here. You can change this output directory if you want. I am going to put it with its where it belongs, in H. Okay. And right now it has the jar name there. I want the compiled output. That would help, right? I do not need Bukkit. That part of your server, you do not have to put that in the jar. Matter of fact, don't. It'll just make it fat. However, you do need to add the plugin YAML. So you have to come up here and click this little plus, go to File, and then find your plugin YAML that you created and say OK, and have it added to your to the output. Now it will put this inside the jar with the compiled output, and you just say OK. So now I can go to Build and Build Artifact, and when I click Build here, it'll actually create the jar in the out folder for us. So now we have a potions control.jar. And we can take this to a server now, put it in the plugins folder, run the server, and we should get in our log that it was loaded when the server comes up, and then it was disabled when the server goes down. So we're going to try that. Okay, here's a simple server. I use Spikkit instead of Craft Bukkit, so that's here. Spikkit is a fork of Craft Bukkit, so that's optimized for larger servers. So in general, I tend to use that. Craft Bukkit, Spikkit, as long as it's the right version, you should be fine. So there's not much in here. There's just plugin metrics. I just generated this world, so there's not much to see. I use run.bat. Do have the command to start. Now, of course, on a Linux server, this would be a shell script instead. But this is my Windows box, so there you go. And we'll start up the server. Right now there's nothing in it, so there's nothing going to happen. It'll just start the server. And there it is, it's running really easy. So we'll stop that because we need to add our plugin. Okay. So now I'll go get the plugin. And here it is. I'm going to copy this and go to the plugins folder on the server and paste that in there, just like that. Nothing else, nothing fancier than that. Up to simple server again and hit run. Now this time it should load, assuming we did everything correctly, our plugin. Of course our plugin doesn't do much except put out a log line that says, hey, I loaded. So, oh, look, but we failed. See, we got an error. The error says it could not find valid plugin class not found exception, which means I put my path wrong. So it's a good learning experience. So let's go back here. So let's see. My path is com.minecats.cindyk.potion-control. Oh, but look what I did when I created the package. I made a typo. It doesn't say control, it says control. And if I go look at my plugin, I actually didn't put the typo there. So that's my issue. Now, haha, can I rename? Because I don't really want my name of my package to be control for the rest of the world. For the rest of the time that I have this plugin. If the plugin gets pretty big or keeps around, now I'm going to be stuck with that word. No. It's a good thing to find early because I don't see a way to rename it. I've never tried to rename a package before. So what that says to me is I need to create a new package. There we go, potion control. Oh, and it's going to help me out by putting them both on, because they're both in the same. And I'm going to move my class down there because that's where I really want it. And now I'll delete this guy. I don't need him. So now that's better. So now we match. So we're potion control, and IntelliJ happily helped me and renamed the package when I moved it to the new area. See? So it now says potion control. I did not have to type that in there. It did it for me. And we now match. This will now match. And so now we need to go back up and rebuild that artifact. So I'll build that again. And it built it. And then I need to go back and grab it. And put it in my folder here. Replace. Now we got a new one. Need to go up and launch. Okay. So did we get Yes, we did. Right here. See info, potion control, loading potion control version 1.0. We go look here. Now that says, but that's from Bukkit. I mean, we should see potion control enabled, which would be our log line, which would be down here. There we go. So it says enabling, and then, so this line up here, the loading, this line here enabling, both come from Bukkit, from Craft Bukkit, and Bukkit adding those lines. And then this line is the one we put when we enabled. Okay, so we're now working, and when we stop, disabling it, and there's our line that says disabled. Okay. Okay, so that's the end of lesson 1. You learned how to set up the basic shell of a Bukkit plugin. We'll continue on from there and add more things so it has more features. Have fun! Bye!